Whew. Okay, time for recording. Hello, my black and white brothers. Welcome to my channel. I'm Alpha Anime, and this is What If Deku Had Never. Um. Okay, now this is What If Deku Had Never. Why do I keep messing it up? This is What If Deku Had Nen abilities. Why did that take me 3 tries? You know what? Screw it. I'm doing this at night, so I'm tired as all living beings could ever be. It's like, no joke, this is 11 p.m. I'm supposed to sleep by 8. So my body's kind of used to sleeping by 8. So I'm super tired, to say the least. Oh my god, my head's gonna explode. Okay, so I guess I'm ready. Now let's get into this what if. Okay, so where we left off, heroes versus villains had been completely one-sided. So yeah, now it's time for the USJ arc. So, oh wait, how did I forget to add this in my last 2 what ifs? Oh geez. Okay, so class president, and Deku gets it. He stays in it this time because he's actually good. He's actually good at it, and he has a little thing called, here's a secret, self-confidence, people. Learn it. But don't be like Bakugo. So yeah, he's class president. Yeah. Okay, so they all get onto the bus, and while they're on the bus, the topic of quirks comes into play. Or how did it come into play in the last? It doesn't matter. So yeah, they start talking about quirks, and then Sue asks, "Hey, Midoriya, Midoriya, hey Zuko, what's your quirk, and what is with it looking like you have thousands?" Deku looks at them and says, "Well, my quirk is kinda weird." Everyone looks at him saying, "Yeah, no kidding." And then Deku says, "Well, mine is called multi-power." I didn't see any comments about a quirk name just yet because I'm making this as soon as my other video goes up, so I haven't seen any of the comments. So I'll just keep calling it multi-power until my next episode. And then so yeah, it's what he says. My quirk name is multi-power. Everyone looks at him in awe. It's like, so what exactly does it do? What exactly does it do? Deku says, well, it does a lot, per se. I have a few abilities where it allows me to conjure stuff. I have an enhancement quirk as well. And there's also a part of me that can manipulate my body. And I can transmute electricity, giving me that electricity form. And I can also emit my energy to other places. As such, you've seen most of what I can do, but I haven't been able to use my full power without killing someone, so I'm gonna keep that in check for now. Everyone looks at him and awe, and then Sue and Kirishima says, well, you're probably the strongest person here. Bakugo and Todoroki scoff at this, saying, that's not true, I am. What? They both say it at the same time, then Bakugo looks at Todoroki saying, no, I am. You're probably number 3, maybe coming after that useless Deku. When Todoroki hears this, he says, well, if I'm a useless Deku, you're more useless than me, seeing that I could easily destroy you. So it's about to get pretty heated, but then Deku gets out his nen chain and says, okay, y'all, shut up. Todoroki and Bakugo look at Deku with intent to try and attack him. Deku then flashes into Godspeed, intimidating them. If you've watched Hunter x Hunter, there's a scene where where Killua goes into Godspeed by just flipping back his hair, and then there's a small shockwave intimidating everyone. So that's basically what he does. He flips back his hair, and then there's a shockwave, sending everyone back. It's like, oh, okay, I'm not fighting this dude. No, thank you. After this, Deku calms down and says, now that we are all calmed down, we can enjoy the bus ride to the USJ, or whatever it's called. So yeah, they get to the USJ. They talk to 13. After they get to the USJ, the rescue hero 13, or the space hero 13, tells them about how her quirk could easily be used to kill, but then she uses it to save people and all that jazz that we don't really care about. While she's saying that, some purple jazz starts forming in the middle of the USJ. So so everyone looked at it, and then Kirishima exclaimed, wow, look, they even got fake villains here? Let's go. Every But then Aizawa jumped out saying, stay back, those are real villains. Like, we don't have the budget to have fake villains here. Do you know how much this school costs? I'm sorry if you can hear that thing in the background. It's my sister's watching TV. It's super loud, damn. Okay, so, yeah. After Aizawa tells him about how much that the security system costs, and tells him how the budget for fake villains is not enough for where they are right now, he jumps down into the field of fire, fighting villains. Yo, bro, he folded them by just taking away their quirks and then throwing them aside. But then they try to. 13 tries to get the kids out of the USJ, but then some purple mist tries to. I mean, the purple mist that brought all the villains into the thing in the first place, stops them from leaving. It says, well, though we were uninvited by coming here, you guys are uninvited from leaving. So you'll have to be here for the time being. We have come to kill All Might. So, yeah. Seeing this, Kirishima and Bakugo jump at the villain, effectively impeding on 13's field of view, where she could have probably just sucked up the villain instantly. I don't know what the heck they were thinking. After seeing that, 13 had to close up the thing, the black hole, whatever it is. So she doesn't basically kill the kids. So when they try to attack the thing, they just go through them, and then they're transported somewhere else. And then after that, they effectively manage to transport all the kids across the USJ. So they're all separated. Deku gets thrust into the water, where a villain comes to try and chomp on that guy's nuts. I'm kidding. And then what Deku does is he uses his remote fist to punch the villain, effectively knocking him out, which hopefully he can breathe underwater, or he's as good as dead. Sue then comes out of nowhere and grabs Deku and thrusts him onto the boat, where they begin to try and come up with a plan while Mineta is going apeshit. They devise a plan where Deku goes into Godspeed and jumps into the water saying, "Cannonball!" And when he jumps into the water, since he's emitting so much electricity, he electrocutes the water, knocking all of them out easily. Then he starts swimming back to shore. And when they get back to shore, they see Aizawa being brutally force-fed dirt by the Nomu, while Big Daddy Shigaraki is watching. Ow. Ugh, that mosquito. It's Nigeria, so malaria doesn't do much here. Shigaraki notices them as he slowly starts to walk up towards Sue, putting his hand out. And then, them noticing what he did to Aizawa's arm, Deku Deku starts envisioning what's gonna happen to Sue. Basically, her just turning into dust, cause that's what decay does. So him having this mental vision sees that Sue is basically about to get disintegrated right before his eyes. Instinctively goes into, wait, what am I saying? He doesn't go into anything. He instantly charges up a Gungen fist and tries to fit. Oh no, that was the wrong choice of words. Tries to punch Shigaraki square in the face. But this time the Nomu jumps in front of him, and as soon as that happens, Deku punches the Nomu, sending it flying. Then he notices that Shigaraki is still going, and then he says, "Round two!" Smashing Shigaraki's face in into the water, easily knocking him out. Because have you seen what John Ken Fist has done, boys and girls? Well, he force fed him water at this point. The Nomu comes back in a flash and bashes Deku into the wall. Deku uses Ko to block it so he doesn't take too much damage, but then it does send him flying. Deku splits himself into multiple of himself, some of them being bigger than usual. He then starts to shrink himself and then starts rebuilding himself on a molecular level, giving himself wings, because he can do that. Like, some of these powers are so OP, Jesus. He starts flying towards the Nomu at great speeds, and then he uses his chains, what turns him invisible by, I can't remember what net ability it was, but you know what, I don't care enough to look it up. He uses that ability and wraps the Judgment Chain around the Nomu, making the vow that he will only use the Judgment Chain around people in the... what's it called again? The League of Villains, yeah. So now the Nomu is caught. There's nothing he can do now. Because if you've watched the anime, you've seen Uvogin just got oof. Oh my god. Uvogin destroyed most of a mountain, but he couldn't get past those chains. So, sad life Nomu. So the Nomu is caught, and then Shigaraki wakes up because he was basically drowning for a little bit. So that wakes him up. After capturing what's it called? The Nomu. Shigaraki gets up and starts rushing at Deku, saying, "Cheater! That was supposed to kill All Might." Deku then says, "Well, it ain't killing nothing right now. Sorry." As soon as that happens, Shigaraki goes in for an attack. Deku dodges, since Shigaraki has like no form. Deku dodges and just keeps dodging and weaving until he gets bored and says, "Well, I should take care of this now." Deku then turns into Godspeed and makes a circle around himself, saying, "If you go past the circle, you're gonna get hurt." When Shigaraki hears this, he rushes in anyway, but then is saved by Kurogiri, who says, "Do not rush this boy. He's just captured our Nomu like it was some second-rate villain. We should regroup and attack later." Shigaraki, hearing this, still says, "No, I want to kill him now." Then Kurogiri says, "Well, screw you. I'm getting you out of here regardless." Shigaraki starts yelling, but then Kurogiri says, "Well, see you guys later. I'm gonna have to discipline this freaking man-child." Then he proceeds to teleport Shigaraki out of there. So the heroes burst in, saying that we're here to stop the villains, but then they don't need to do much, because not only has Deku captured the main villain, Deku can heal most people. So yeah. The only person that Deku couldn't really heal was what's his name again? Mr. Aizawa, because he needs to have Emperor's time if he's gonna heal anything like that. So Aizawa still needs to get bandaged up and all that stuff. All of that jazz happens, and now it's time to get to the tournament arc, I guess. So they walk into school, all that jazz happens. Mr. Aizawa comes in and says, "It's time for the UA the sports festival." So everyone gets excited, apart from a select few who say, "But wouldn't it be bad to host the sports festival right after being brutally attacked by villains?" Mr. Aizawa explained why they have to look like they really didn't care, but that does help everyone. So yeah, and all that jazz. You like jazz? Sorry that I'm skipping some of these parts. Some of them just don't do anything to the story, so I skip them. Oh my god, I just dropped my phone. Okay, so they all head to the what is it, like the stadium or coliseum, whatever it's called. They head to the stadium. They get dressed and then they get called out. Deku Deku gets called up to be the representative, and then he just says some words, I guess. It's not important. Then they announce that the first thing to do is the race. When they say go, Deku immediately starts multiplying himself, but not before Todoroki started to freeze the ground. It froze Deku, but then he just created a copy and then switched into that copy and then removed the other copy. And then he started creating multiple copies of himself. They kept running, and then they were destroying these 3-pointers and 1-pointers, and then the 0-pointers came out. After Todoroki had finished freezing all of them, Deku, all of the Dekus turned into Godspeed, and then they grabbed the main Deku and started swinging him around, turning him around, and then basically just spinning him in circles. And then they shot him into the air, and then he just went through the 0-pointer. After that, President Mike starts saying, "Looks like one of our star students, Shoto Todoroki, is in the lead, being closely followed by Bakugo, Katsuki Bakugo, and Izuku Midoriya." Everyone is focused on Deku. Then he starts explaining their quirks. President Mike tells them about Bakugo's quirk and all that stuff, and then he goes into Izuku's quirk. They say that his quirk is called multi-power, so he basically has multiple powers that he can use at any given time, but then it drains him if he uses all of them at once. He explained how they don't even know the full extent of what he can do. Everyone is in awe, and then now we cut back to Deku. Deku says, "Well, I guess I should stop playing around with you guys now." He then starts actually running with Godspeed. Because before, he was just he was lightly jogging. Now he's full on sprinting. So he easily gets past them and just jumps across each platform. And when he gets to the what's it called? When he gets to the minefield, he runs out of aura for Godspeed, because Godspeed takes up a lot of aura, and then with his Nenpools, it only gives him the amount of aura a Chimera Ant has, and about as much as Gon had before. So it's a lot, but they're not enough to sustain Godspeed for that long. Keep in mind that he had multiple of himself using Godspeed at once, so yeah, that depleted his aura for Godspeed really quickly. Deku then manipulates himself to make himself much bigger. So then he starts running. Now, before he was like, how tall is normal Deku? Uh, I'll say that he was basically 6 foot. No, that's a lie. He was probably like 5'4", but now he's like 20, 10. So now he's gliding across the entire thing. Most of the time he steps on things and then they blow up, but then his body is so big that he basically just ignores it. And everybody's watching in awe as he gets past that obstacle. And then he gets first place. Second and third are Todoroki and Bakugo. So yeah. And that's where I'm gonna end it off, guys. Sorry for wait, why am I saying sorry? Oh yeah, sorry for forgetting to shout out the people in my last video. I guess I'll do it now. You can just see it right there, and there, and there. Yeah, that should be enough. So yeah, goodbye. Stay cool, stay safe, and best of all, wear a damn mask.